How close are Korean and Chinese Japanese culture? Because when we say close, we usually mean history or food, or the fact that we borrowed words from each other. But here I'm talking about something we can actually feel in our bodies. Have we ever walked into a room and before anyone says a word, we already know what to do? Not because someone told us, but because we can sense the atmosphere, we can sense the invisible rule. We know who to greet first and how loud we are allowed to speak. And when it's safe to laugh and when it's smarter to stay quiet. And if we have ever lived in this kind of culture, whether it's in our family, at school, at work, or even just a dinner table, I generally want to hear it. What's one moment where we felt that air controlling us, even though nobody said anything out loud? Because the more I think about it, the more I feel like this isn't personality, it's culture. And in some Asian regions, this isn't just a nice social skill that makes us polite or socially intelligent. And it can feel like a rule, almost like something we are trained to do automatically. For example, in Japanese, there is a phrase, 空気を読む. If we translate it into English, it means read the L. And in Chinese, it's 察言观色. Literally, watch words and faces. And then I look at the dictionary. Also, I found in French, we often say ressentir l'ambiance. It means feel the vibe in the room. And then in English, the closest phrase is read the room. But here, what I want to highlight, this isn't just language. It's context. And context becomes survival instinct. Because in a lot of Asian settings, we are not only hearing words, we are checking the L around the words. We have to use our eyes. And that L is made of tone, silence, status, and the quiet question we are always asking. Who holds power here? I don't think it's overthinking. Actually, it's pattern recognition. It's the kind of intelligence that develops when the cause of misunderstanding the room is real. So why do Chinese and Japan, Korean feel so similar in this? It's not only history, it's also the way language and social order grew together for centuries. So we didn't just borrow words, we inherited ways of behaving, ways of surviving, and ways of staying safe. And the clear place we see this is hierarchy. For example, age, respect, and rank. If we are being honest, Korea often takes age hierarchy to the extreme. Well, age can instantly decide status, and China has it too, especially inside families. So we all know that moment where the oldest person says something unreasonable. Everyone can feel it, but nobody corrects it. It's not because we agree, but because the room has rules. We don't think they are right. However, we are not allowed to correct them. We are not allowed to challenge it. And when we do challenge it, we are not only called rude, we are also called something heavier, something moral, immoral. And that's the key, because a society isn't held together only by laws, it's held together by moral pressure. What's proper, what's shameful, and what gets punished socially, even when there is no legal consequence. In China, Confucian culture shaped society for thousands of years, and some parts are meaningful, some parts are beautiful, but we also know some parts of order more than ordinary people. Take this for example, respect elders. It's not always respect for wisdom, it's often respect for age, not because they earned it through contribution, but because they exist above us in the family ladder. And that creates an uncomfortable chain reaction. When people feel powerless in society, when hard work doesn't change reality, they look for a space where they can regain control. And very often that space becomes the family, because age equals authority. It's not because we are cruel, but because the system rewards age with power. So sometimes having children becomes more than love. It becomes control, stability, and status. And in Korean culture, that dynamic can go very far. Now, something is shifting, especially in China, because the internet reached a new generation. Post 2000 kids grew up seeing comparison, alternatives, and contradictions. And they are starting to challenge things that used to feel untouchable. So we sometimes see moments that used to be real. For example, an older person uses age as an excuse to act selfishly in public, and the younger person steps in. It's not always, but it's happening, and it's not for everyone. Still, overall, Chinese culture is shaped by one word, ren. It means endurance. We value harmony. We value don't make it awkward. We value hold it in. And we see 和为贵. Japan has its own version too. For example, restraint, quiet discipline, then like calm. So across the region, we are trained to prioritize the group, and it sounds noble, collective awareness and group harmony. But there is a shadow side, because when we are trained to read the room, we are also trained to silence ourselves. Not because we don't have opinions, but because we learn very early which opinions are safe and which opinions cost too much. And this becomes obvious in drinking culture. For example, in company dinners, in social gatherings. Because how many times have we said yes, not because we wanted to, but because refusing felt expensive? It's not expensive in money, it's expensive in consequences. The consequences are, I will ruin the mood, I will look difficult, I will lose face, I will be excluded next time. So we don't refuse, not because we want to comply, but because refusing costs us. And that's when politeness becomes a cage. Because once a strong person enters the group, money, status, authority, and then the air changes, and suddenly their preferences become the plan. Where we eat, how long we stay, how much we drink, what we laugh at. It's not because we like it, but because heresy speaks without speaking. And when we connect this to resources, for example, our jobs, money, opportunities, it gets even clearer. When resources feel tight, walking away feels risky, not because we love the situation, but because we fear losing what little we have. And the fewer choices we have, and the more we tolerate what we hate. That's why Japan and Korea are often described as emotionally heavy. And China has that pressure too. But China often hides it, not because it isn't there, but because we are trained not to show it, because we grew up with 家丑不可外扬. Family problems shouldn't be public. Conflict becomes shame. And even in small communities, we learn that if neighbors know someone gets blamed, not for the harm, but for breaking harmony. So what did we do? We hide it. We swallow it. We normalize it. And that's how reading the room becomes automatic. And the more rigid social class becomes, the more we rely on 察言观色 or 空気を読む just to survive inside the system. Not because we enjoy it, but because we need a place to stand. Otherwise, we get labeled low EQ, 不懂事, not socially aware. And once we are labeled, the doors close faster. So we keep pushing, studying, working, enduring. Not because we are strong, but because we don't feel we can stop. And yes, power dynamics exist everywhere. This isn't only Asia. But what's specific in China, Japan, and Korea is how early we learn this and how automatic it becomes. Because it's not only language, it's atmosphere. It's not only conversations, it's relationships. It's not only what's said, it's what's implied. So sometimes the pressure doesn't even come from one person. It's not because someone attacks us, but because the room controls us. So let's end with the real question, and I really hope we answer it together. Where did we learn to read the room?